Hey everybody, it's Chris from Holy Trinity, and I would like to talk to you about the Sunday readings. But before we do, you should probably get to know this guy. Can you tell who that is? Yeah, most people can't, but I'll bet you've probably heard his name. This is Isaiah the prophet, and he wrote a really important piece of our Bible. When Isaiah was alive, there was a lot of really stressful stuff going on. In fact, Isaiah lived in the kingdom of Israel, and that kingdom was under attack by the armies of another kingdom, Babylon. And more, the people began to feel like it was a war they just couldn't win. So as you can imagine, the people were pretty darn worried about a lot of stuff. What was going to happen to them? What would happen to their families and their homes and their friends? In the end, they did lose the war, and most of them were captured and taken away. And once they'd been captured, many of the Israelites decided that the best way to protect themselves was just to stay as quiet as they could. But not Isaiah. You'll notice that in the first reading, Isaiah says that when everybody else is getting quiet, he's going to get loud. Look at what he says. For Zion's sake, I will not be silent. For Jerusalem's sake, I will not be quiet. Isaiah knew that the people who were worried and afraid, they needed to hear something good. They needed to hear the good news that God was still with them, that God still loved them, that God still had a plan to take care of them. If right here in this moment they couldn't see what God was doing, Isaiah wanted to be the voice that reminded them. I don't know everything, but I know our God, and He always does something good. The psalm this weekend matches that same message. Look at the words. Proclaim His marvelous deeds to all the nations. So what are God's marvelous deeds? They're everything He does to show us that He loves us and He is taking care of us. And what does proclaim mean? It means to share it out loud with other people. The psalm reminds us that we are all supposed to share the message of God with the people who need to hear it the most. When your words help those people to remember God's love, then you are becoming His prophet in the world today. Like this week at my school, we had a lot of people who got sick. And some people were really worried because their friends were gone for a few days or even the whole week. And some teachers were worried because they didn't know how to get ready because they didn't know who was going to come to school the next day. And a lot of parents have been worried because what happens if someone in our family gets sick and someone has to stay home? How do we plan ahead? I think it's okay to worry sometimes. And I think it's okay to be scared sometimes. But it's not okay to let those feelings take over the good feelings that we have because we know our God. So here's my challenge for you this week. Every time you start to feel worried or afraid or stressed, I want you to stop, breathe, and look around you. Find something good. Something that we can thank God for putting in the world for us. For example, earlier today, I was up in the church and I was working on a project that wasn't going so well. So I made myself stop. I took a breath. And I looked around. And I saw these beautiful flowers in front of the altar. I saw the book of the Gospels back on the wall. I saw our big, beautiful crucifix hung right up by the windows. And I said to God out loud, God, thank you for the flowers. Thank you for the word of God that you give us in the Gospels. Thank you for coming as Jesus and being with us. My challenge to you is this week, every time you start to feel that worry or that stress, stop and find two good things that you can say out loud. Let's make sure that we are twice as grateful to God as we are worried about our own stuff down here. And while you're doing that, all of us here at Holy Trinity are going to be praying for you all week long. And I hope that helps lift a little bit of that worry off your shoulder. Please be praying for us as well, and keep praying for each other, so that soon, maybe really soon, we can all be back together here at Holy Trinity, the people of God gathered together in the house of God. Until then, please know you've got a God that loves you and a church that loves you too. Hey, that's two things to be thankful for right there. And we will see you soon.